So to start this, I wanted my own fly. I wanted my own attractor. I didn't care about imitators. We got a lot of flies that imitate stuff. I wanted my own attractor. I like beads. I like them because they get you down so quick. They add a lot of weight. I fished the Provo, or the green with a friend, and he said the reason that the beads work so well, especially the tungsten, is once the fish sucks it in, if it drops below their jaw, it's hard for them to blow that out. There's enough weight that sticks there. Why not? So I got a bead head. My lucky number is 13, so I try to get 13 wraps of lead on there. There's my base. I want a brown tail. Princes have brown tails. Other flies have brown tails. It's got to work. So I wanted a brown tail, so that's what I started with. The material that is disappearing in a lot of flies is peacock. Peacock's killer. That's the best stuff around. Look at just a natural flash. Look at the colors you get out of it. Peacock's cool. It's disappearing. It shouldn't. So I wanted peacock. So it had to have a peacock body, and the Prince nymph had a peacock body, and I think that's part of why it works. I also think that part of why it works is there's a color difference, a color change. What the change is, actually I don't want to do that first. What the change is the white biots over the dark body. Maybe that color change is what helps a Prince work as well as it does. Peacock is a little bit fragile, so I knew I needed wire. I didn't want flash because I was planning on adding flash. So the wire I put on was just a small brown wire. Man, this is dark. So I got a little brown wire. Now I'm going to tie in the peacock that I started doing before. Now I'm going to tie in the peacock, get a nice peacock body. I'm going to square up those tips and tie this in. Oh, that helps, thank you. Ask and ye shall receive. Tying with peacock. I don't know if you tried this. Take your hackle pliers and just spin it around. That'll give you good durable cord. Wind this forward. I'm going to tie it off right here. Now to untie this, I'm just going to let it untwist. Okay. Hang on to it and unclip it. Tie this in. It's a nice peacock body. And peacock just works. Look at the royal wolf, the prince nymph, the renegades. The double renegade. When was the last time any of you fished with a double renegade? That was the one I forgot. That was the fly I forgot for a lake fly. Double renegades, they still work. Nobody ties them anymore. That is the worst money-making fly there is. If you have to sit down and tie one, you tie in the red tail, tie it off. You tie in the hackle, wrap it, tie it off. Tie in peacock, wrap it, tie it off. It's a horrible fly to make money at. So nobody wants to tie it. So this part was set. A little added strength with the wire. A little bit of segmentation with the wire. Brown wire because I didn't want any more flash. I don't know if any of you follow the check nymphing. And I know what you're going to say. Why don't you twill it and cut it and do all that? You do that with your wire. Make the shape. Sit here like this so it breaks. Cut it. So if you get into any of the check nymphing books, you're going to see hot spots. You're going to hear a lot about hot spots. I went through a couple different books. Every hot spot was pink or orange. I like the UV so much, and there's a pinkish orange UV. If I can hold it still. That one right there. Cool color. So all right, it's got to have that for the thorax. When you're tying with this, it's such a coarse material. I'll take my dubbing wax and touch it. And you get the tack on your fingers, just a little bit. You don't need a lot. I don't do it to the thread, I do it to my fingers. cool thing about this vise, and a guy taught me this. He said, I hate the Renzetti vise because when you try to dub, your fingers are hitting these knobs. I thought, yeah, he's right. Until you move it out of the way. So that's why it's upside down right here, because I'm going to dub. So twist this on. Don't worry about it being super tight. Just get it on kind of tight. Make a little noodle. Slide that up. And wrap this. Wait till you see just these two colors together. This is a gorgeous fly, just like this. I mean, to me, that's just pretty. And I think it worked just like that. But I'm going to add to it just a little bit more. The veil words. Those flies, they had the hare's ears, there was a light hare's ear, dark hare's ear, both caddis, the prince, they all use this same veil. The veil is made with the fibers. What I'm going to do is pull these up like this. Now I'm going to grab these fibers, see if this will show up, and pull pinches off. That gets the fibers pretty close to the same length.
Is that UV gray? What is it?
This is brown, UV brown.
I can't see it.
It's just, and this was the one I brought in. Well, I can figure out which way to move it. So just regular UV brown. That kind of shows up. Now the trick in tying this down. I've got these fibers aligned. All I'm going to do is set that on top. I'm not twisting it to the thread. It's not a noodle. I'm going to use the thread to turn it into a hackle and let the thread bring it all the way around. I'm going to help it out. And just let the thread pull it all the way around. So it really looks bad there, but what I'm going to do now is take these fibers and stroke them all back. I chose the rust colored thread because it looks good against this copper bead. The brass bead worked just as well as the copper. The copper looked prettier. No reason other than that it looked pretty. With that kind of a collar on it. Couple whip finishes. If you're tying with beads, next step is to pinch it. Pinch that thread behind the bead, then draw out the slack, then cut it. You can tell my flies because I never cut next to the eye or next to the thread. That way I keep it from unraveling. From here, it's an okay fly. Take a look at that. I've got a little wire brush. I'm going to brush this back. That's going to pull out a lot. You're going to end up with a lot of fuzzies in your brush. You see my brush looks purple and green. And so this is almost going to kind of blend that shrimp pink with the brown UV. Get it back to the back and break off anything past the tail. And that's it. I call it a flashbulb. First time I used it was on the West Fork of the Duchesne. It's always good. There's always a lot of fish in there. It's a lot of fun. I was fishing with dry flies. Lisa's on the radio going nuts. I'm catching so many fish, I can't believe it. Oh, it's great. I'm just going crazy. I asked her which one she chose, copper or brass. She told me copper, and I said, why? She said, it looked prettier. Copper is stock. I got into a run and I took one fish on a dry fly and I thought, I know there's more in here. She's going crazy. I got to try this again. Re-rigged. I thought, I know I can get at least one more on a net. Boom, fish, boom, fish, boom, fish, 3 more. It's like turn on a vacuum cleaner. Man, it was incredible. It still fishes everywhere. So a year ago, August, when I started fishing this, it has been my #1 fly for almost a year. Every fish Lisa caught was on that. Everywhere we went. Flashbulb fly, I tried to sell it. They said, no, it doesn't have any bin appeal. Doesn't look that good. Probably catches fish. We don't like it. I cried for a little bit. Like somebody calling your kid ugly. Really? No? So anyway, the design and what you can go into, that was my thought process to produce this fly. There's so much out there waiting to be invented, waiting to be created, to evolve to the next step. I'll shut up now. Thanks for your time.